whom the bell tolls, why, I do believe that bell is tolling just for me. And considering that we've wrapped up all the business we have at the elementary school, I figured it would be prudent to go ahead and head over to the church and see just who might be ringing that bell. I mean, for all we know, it could very well be Cheryl trying to get our attention. Now, while the church did not seem a great distance away, as you can imagine, it won't be a simple trek. In fact, much like how we got down to the school, we are going to have to use a little bit of a shortcut by cutting through Kay Gordon's house. Thankfully, we did manage to pick up the key down in the basement, as well as via the teacher register, we were able to find exactly where that teacher's house was. Also, considering the sheer amount of handgun bullets we've managed to stockpile, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be a little bit more liberal with the use of the gun. Not to say that melee isn't useful, but, well, I think it's better to be safer than sorry, considering there are still going to be a whole lot of monsters roaming the streets, especially as we head into a new part of town. Yeah, much like the other areas of town, the roads are still pretty torn up. It becomes pretty evident very quickly why we can't just simply go down the road. But it still kind of begs the question about how much do we actually know about what's going on? I mean, the natural disaster that seems to have struck the town is one thing, but there's also the supernatural disaster that we seemingly ran across in that strange other world within the school. Also, even outside the map, there are a few other more obvious signs of Kate Gordon's house. Some of the markers seem to indicate that Kay Gordon might not be in the best health. Still, as we do have the key and we need to keep on pressing forward, there's no reason why we can't head inside. And we find a very similar outlay of a house compared to the doghouse. And part of me wants to say it's just the general idea of what suburbia might be to, countries that might not have their own real suburbs, just very uniform, commonplace-looking houses. Not to say that this house doesn't have a little bit of additional flair that the doghouse didn't have. Also, it's a very slight thing, but I do kind of appreciate the camera angle from the table there. It does leave a little bit of mystery about whether or not you might be being watched. But in reality, there's not much to this house. It's more or less just a portal to another portion of the town. Yeah, to some degree, it just seems like a very arbitrary gating measure to make sure you follow a very specific path through town. Definitely a lot less, I guess, awe-inspiring than the just roads being completely torn asunder. But it's fine, because we now have what is pretty much an open pathway to get over to the church. Don't think there should be any large crevasses between us and, well, the mysteriously now silent bells. I think, though, that it was a block up. And while this alleyway is a bit filled with danger, it's worth going down here because there are a few more bullets. As well as what seems like a prime time to just unleash some anger against these screamers. It'd sincerely just be a massive pain in the ass, considering that they are pretty much an introductory enemy. It's nice to be able to take them out so easily when you do have the opportunity. Yeah, it does kind of work out for us either way because, well, we did just happen to pick up 2 health drinks, so. Now, I do think the church was down the other direction on the street. But, yeah, there is this unique store right nearby here. It's a bit hard to make out due to the pixelation of the font, but I wanted to say it said Cut-Right Chainsaws. And while most of the stores in the game are just kind of background flavors, such as this multi-faceted repair shop, the chainsaw shop, a bit of a tongue twister, is actually a little bit more useful because it does have a chainsaw. Though it's of no use to us because it's got no gasoline. But definitely anytime you've seen green text, that pretty much means that it should be an interactable item. So, I don't know, maybe if we keep an eye open for some gasoline, we can head back there and pick up that chainsaw. Just had to keep that thought on the back burner though, because as indicated by the large cross here, we have finally made our way to the origination of the bell ringing, the Balkan Church.
Were you ringing that bell?
I've been expecting you. It was foretold by gyromancy.
What are you talking about?
I knew you'd come. You want the girl, right?
The girl? You're talking about Cheryl.
I see everything.
You know something? Tell me.
Stay back. Nothing is to be gained from floundering about at random. You must follow the path. The path of the hermit concealed by Flauros.
What? What are you talking about?
Here, the Flauros, a cage of peace. It can break through the walls of darkness and counteract the wrath of the underworld. These will help you. Make haste to the hospital before it's too late.
Wait! Don't go yet!
So, not Cheryl, just a very cryptic and slightly unhelpful woman. Also massively antisocial, as she just completely shuts off Harry from following her. Still, I mean, while she was a bit antisocial and cryptic, she did at least direct us to another possible location where Cheryl might be located. I don't know if we've seen a hospital in this part of town, so I get the feeling that means we are going to be heading to a brand new area of Silent Hill. But amongst all her rambling, she did mention this Flauros here, and underneath that we do find a drawbridge key. The thing is, I honestly have no idea if there's any kind of real-world item or reference to this thing called Flauros here. Even Harry doesn't exactly know what its purpose is. Strangely though, my mind kind of goes back to my early childhood video game days where actual religious iconography was very much taboo. And being inside this church is just... it's really interesting to see all the actual, low-resolution pieces of actual religious artwork and iconography they have. But beyond the interesting art and the notepad, or a save point, there's not much else here, so... I guess it's time to figure out where we can use our newfound key. And it just so happens that right down the road there does appear to be a bridge control room. It seems like a good as place as any to use a drawbridge key. Though before we make our way all the way down there, there are a few little side areas we want to visit before that. First of which is this nearby garage and gas station. Because this seems like a reasonable place to try to find some gasoline. Inside the garage, though, doesn't really seem like there's much in here. Just another save point, which seems a bit strange considering there was one just in the church. Also, just another box of handgun bullets, so not exactly a waste, but still, it would be nice to find that gasoline. I mean, there are the pumps, but we don't really have anything to actually contain this Formula Hell gasoline that this place seems to have, so I guess that's just going to be a foregone conclusion for now. And spoiler alert, the gas is actually only a New Game Plus item. But if I do get the chance, I'll still try to show that off. Also, it is a good idea to press down here towards this dead end, because right next to this truck we do find a little bit of additional ammo. And while we don't really need more handgun bullets, the additional shotgun shells are definitely welcome. So there is just one more slight detour before we head on down the bridge, and that's the broken set of stairs here. Another healing item, as well as some shotgun shells. But yeah, with that slight detour out of the way, we should now be able to cross the bridge finally. Though there is a reason why we need the drawbridge control key to make our way across, and that's because the drawbridge is actually currently up right now. Though below the actual control room, there is this strange, sinister sounding room down here, and well, we do find a rock drill. It's just, much like the chainsaw, it needs gasoline to run. So, yet again, it's another New Game Plus item that I will have to show off in a bonus video. Also, as far as I know, the Orridge Bridge is the only time I think this bridge is ever actually referenced by name anywhere throughout the franchise. They're usually pretty good about carrying over those references from game to game, such as Toluca Lake, but yeah, it's the only time I remember this bridge ever being referenced. Yep, in the control room we find yet another save point, a nice map for the next area. Additional healing item. But most importantly of all, we actually find the control panel for the bridge. So we should now be free and clear to head into the shopping district of Silent Hill. Now, as you might imagine, since it is a shopping district, there's a whole lot of businesses compared to the other area we just left, but more importantly, it does have a police station. And that might be a prime location where either Cheryl might go to seek some refuge with some police, or it even might be where police officer Sybil might be that we ran to at the start of the game. Also, much like the opposing end of the bridge, there is an item hidden away on the broken staircase. Just so happens, though, that it's on the opposing staircase. It's not as good as a reward, though, just even more handgun bullets. Really trying to push the player to not have to rely on melee. And it's especially true in this new area, as we are introduced to a brand new enemy. This one is especially dangerous. Yeah, this bounding bugger it's got a rather playful name. It's called a romper. But trust me when I say that this guy's erratic behavior and bounding movements make him extremely dangerous. His ability to knock you to the ground and do a whole chunk of damage to you if given the chance. Considering that there's 3 waiting outside the police station, I get the feeling there's something important in the police station itself, and also that Well, I don't really feel like there's going to be much in the way of police inside. I feel like if there were, they might have taken care of the monsters outside. Yeah, the place seems mostly deserted. Just plenty of ammo sitting around, and I think that's almost a low-res version of a anti-drug PSA poster on the wall there. Half human face, half skull gentleman. All in all, though, the police station is actually fairly small, and it's at this point that something kind of struck me. I realized that we've been picking up quite a few, boxes of bullets, and I feel like I should have more than 200. It's just what was mostly unknown to me as a young kid and up to being an adult is that there is actually a hard limit to how many bullets you can carry. So I might have been wasting some of the handgun bullets we've been picking up, but it's probably fine for the most part. But beyond all the boxes of ammunition in here, there is a little bit of backstory that you can find hidden away on the walls. Seems that the local police were doing a bit of a narcotics investigation. Something about White Claudia, a plant unique to this region. And it's being used to manufacture some special drug. This police don't seem to have any types of leads. Or it could be inferred from this memo on the desk here that there might have been an Officer Gucci who was getting close to the truth, and he just happened to mysteriously suffer a heart attack. And the coroner said it was natural causes, but it doesn't really make sense to just suddenly and randomly have a heart attack with no prior indications of heart disease, right? Either way, I think that's a mystery for another time. For right now, I think it's time we make our way down to the hospital and see if we can't find Cheryl. I mean, if that mystery woman inside the Balkan church was any indication, we might be running on something of a time schedule here. I do believe this is the hospital. Also, I think that was gunfire. Yeah, that definitely sounds like gunfire. And while initially the hospital seems pretty barren, if there's gunfire, there has to be someone actually firing a gun, right? Can only hope it isn't randomly Cheryl having found a firearm and is trying to defend herself or something.
Hold it! Stop! Don't shoot! Wait! I'm not here to fight. My name is Harry Mason. I'm in town on vacation.
Thank God, another human being.
Do you work here?
I'm Dr. Michael Kaufman. I work at this hospital.
So maybe you can tell me what's going on.
I really can't say. I was taking a nap in the staff room. When I woke up, it was like this. Everyone seems to have disappeared. And it's snowing out, this time of year. Something's gone seriously wrong. Did you see those monsters? Have you ever seen such aberrations? Ever even heard of such things? You and I both know creatures like that don't exist.
Yeah. Have you seen a little girl anywhere? I'm looking for my daughter. She's only 7, short, black hair.
She's missing. I'm sorry. But with all those monsters around, I highly doubt that she's... Sorry, I didn't mean to alarm you. Your wife, she's here with you?
She died 4 years ago. Now it's just me and my daughter.
I see. I'm sorry. Well, I'd better be going. I can't just sit around here doing nothing.
So long. Good luck out there.
Well, it's definitely good that there's another living person in town, though that was a fairly mixed introduction to Dr. Kaufman. I mean, he was at least less cryptic than the woman in the church, but he was also, even for a doctor, he didn't have a great, say, bedside manner, just straight up telling us that Cheryl's probably dead. Also, he seemed kind of aloof and a bit uncaring about the current situation he was in. Maybe it's just the voice acting, but yeah, he seemed pretty chill with this entire situation. Either way, we should now be able to start exploring the hospital properly, though before we do that, there is one item we want to make sure and pick up before that. And that is the map of the area. Now, compared to the school, the hospital is slightly bigger. I think it does have one additional floor, but all in all, it is quite a bit more involved than our journey through the school. And that's why it's going to be very important that we have a guide and that we do our best to explore it as thoroughly as we possibly can. Also, even though there are plenty of items that say not helpful or nothing useful whenever we investigate them, it is always good to keep an eye out for points of interest, such as this newspaper that, well, it doesn't have anything directly useful for us, but it does at least show us that somebody decided there was something in that newspaper that a random person maybe should not be reading. Also, in a similar vein to the school, there are going to be a whole lot of useless doors for us. But there will also be plenty of rooms that we can explore and hopefully be able to stumble across Cheryl. Or in this case, just find a map for a sub-area of the hospital. Seems a bit strange all in all to find a map of just the basement for the hospital, but I'm assuming it might just be larger than we initially think. Also, speaking of the basement, in the boardroom we do find the basement key. But yeah, I will say it's at least nice that even though we are in this spooky, seemingly abandoned hospital, there's at least no dangers just lurking around every corner. No demonic knife-wielding children to stab at us, or dogs to jump at our faces, or horrible screeching animals. Just random odds and ends to pick up and put into our pocket. Also, I'd honestly like to commend the map designers that they didn't go in some weird direction with the layout of the hospital. It does kind of make sense that there would be a kitchen on, the first floor and not the basement or something. Not sure if it'd be located right next to the director's office. It does seem, though, that somebody was interested in something in the director's office. Though what that might be is a bit of a mystery. Everything's been pretty ransacked. I think someone managed to break this bottle of mysterious liquid here. Good thing for us, though, is that we did manage to just pick up a plastic bottle. And that seems a reasonable storage place for this mysterious liquid. Now, what this liquid is a bit of a mystery. I suppose if we ran into Dr. Kaufman again, we could maybe ask him. Or maybe if this place hadn't been ransacked, we could probably find some notes or something, but yeah, anything else of usefulness in here is just totally gone. Speaking of running out of useful avenues, everything on the first floor here seems to either be jammed up or broken, or we do have an elevator here, but much like the rest of the floor, it just seems to not be in a very good state. Which only leaves us one other avenue, and that's down into the basement. Well, good things always happen down in the basement, right? Yeah, I got a good feeling. Appears, though, that the hospital does have something of an infestation problem down in its dark bowels. Good thing these creepers are extremely easy to take care of with a few well-placed pistol and stomping. And there are quite a few doors down in the basement. Sadly, they do carry a very similar theme to the first floor. And it would almost seem like it would be completely useless to come down here. Just so happens, though, that the one room available to us is extremely important because it houses the emergency generator for the hospital. That is exactly what I picture electricity sounding like. Yeah, now that the electricity is flowing, at least to some portions of the hospital, we can now start getting up to the other floors. And there's no reason to go back to the ground floor, so let's go ahead and check out the second floor. Nice little lobby area here, very welcoming. No continued exploration of this floor. Which just pretty much leaves the third floor. Very similar layout. And very similar broken door. That can't be good. Yeah, the second and third floor are all completely blocked off to us, and I mean, there was another staircase on the first floor, but I don't think we could even get to that. I don't feel like we missed anything, did we? Oh, I guess we did. I didn't realize there was a fourth floor. Ooh. Guess I kind of understand why they might not want to widely advertise the fourth floor. This place is a mess. In fact, they didn't even include it on the normal floor plans. But at least the door's open. Yeah, that sounded like a locking door, and indeed that seems to be the case. Maybe I should have explored that lobby area a little bit better. It seems like there was somebody hiding in there. But it's no matter. I mean, we have plenty of doors to look into. Or maybe not. Something about this just feels very wrong and yet extremely familiar. Something about this overall aesthetic. Yeah. I definitely get the impression that somehow we've just ended up in an entirely other world.